And on to the next great and interesting topic. This time we're going to dive into how you can chat with your own organization data using Azure Open AI. And this session is going to be presented by Anupama. So thank you so much for joining. Yes,
there
hi.
we go. Fantastic.
So how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm keeping well.
Okay. Before we start, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Anupama Natarajan, and I'm based in Wellington, New Zealand. And I'm a data and AI consultant. And recently, I have taken up a role as a CDO with a company called GoZeal. And mainly the organization is all about empowering women to get women back into workforce, especially women who have taken a short career break, how to get them back into workforce.
That sounds really good. And you're a CTO there?
No, CDO, it's a Chief Data Officer.
Oh, sorry. I misunderstood that.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds really exciting. And what's your session going to be about?
Okay, so I think when I started exploring the Open AI and the Azure Open AI, one thing that came to my mind was around it's nice to get information out of the general public data that is already available. But what a lot of organizations will be more thinking about is how do we get value out of our own data? So is it even possible to use these large language models with our own data? And I think my session is all about yes, you can do that, and just showcasing like a quick introduction on how do you go about doing that.
That sounds really good. Indeed, that is what all customers are asking for, right? Using it with your own data. So I'm really looking forward to this one. Are you ready for it?
Yes, I'm all good. I'll quickly share my screen and then we should be good to go.
Well, interesting point on the data though, right? From the Green Software Foundation session, calling out how much of our data is not used as well. So actually this could be opening the doors to realistically properly using our data as well from
totally
businesses.
True.
Yeah, really cool.
That's right. Like, that is a lot of opportunities, and to be honest, I'm even scratching the surface to be with a lot of my clients, and but it's just trying to explore and showcasing that it's not like I can get more value out of Azure Open AI service, especially like not only with public data. Start thinking about how you can use your own data and just to provide that in a better way for your business users.
Yeah. Great.
Fantastic. So it looks like we're ready to jump to the slides.
Good luck.
Over to you.
Great, thank you. First of all, thanks for the global AI community. I think I've been part of this community from the get-go, and it is always great that they organize these events to spread around what the AI capabilities that Azure has got. In today's session, I'm going to talk to you about how you can chat with your own organization data with the Azure Open AI service. As I said, I'm Anupama Natarajan, based in Wellington, New Zealand, and I'm a Chief Data Officer consultant at GoZeal. And as I mentioned, GoZeal is all about women, and we are a data analytics company. And if you have any questions post this session, feel free to reach out to me through any of my social media channels. And I'm a Microsoft MVP for AI and data platform. And of course, I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. So quick overview of the agenda is I'm going to quickly introduce you about what Azure Open AI is, even though like you have been having sessions that have been talking about Open AI and Azure Open AI. I'll quickly touch upon this topic around some of my interesting things around what I wanted to share. Principles of responsible AI, and this is just a slide I definitely keep in my presentations, especially if I talk about Azure AI and why these principles are really important and why you need to take care of them every time when you are working with AI. A quick view of the Azure Open AI Studio. Of course, again, you would have seen this over multiple sessions today. And also like different types of generative AI models we have got. And finally, we are going to look at how to use your own data and what are the prerequisites that you require and how do you get started with that. So what is Azure Open AI? So I think everyone would have heard about ChatGPT, and which is a product of Open AI. And this is basically a non-profit organization who created a lot of these large language models using the publicly available data. And OpenAI, they have a strong collaboration with Microsoft. And if it is a win-win situation for both the parties, because now you can, the OpenAI can run and train their large AI, large language models over the Azure infrastructure. And also like the large language models now with this collaboration with Microsoft can be embedded with a lot of the Microsoft products, and which you are starting to see in terms of like how we are bringing, how Microsoft are bringing the ChatGPT capabilities and stuff inside the different products, whether you take its Office 365, Microsoft Dynamics 365, or even Power BI and other like Microsoft products that we are talking about. In terms of the principles of responsible AI, I think there are 6 key principles. The reason I put this slide in my talk is Microsoft take this really seriously. When they train their models, pretty much like it is going to be under the following the principles of the responsible AI. So these 6 key principles are fairness. Make sure like whenever you have AI systems that actually needs to treat all the people fairly, because you don't need any sort of bias in that. Reliability and safety, AI systems should be performing reliably and safely, and you don't want any harm that could be caused because of that. Privacy and security, because we are talking here about data, and especially in this topic, I'm going to talk about your own organization data. So which means that you can understand how much security and privacy is really important. Inclusiveness, make sure that you include all the people, like when you are training your models. So you can't segregate to say like these models will be used only by certain people and not by others. And transparency and accountability, another 2 important principles where if you are providing guidance based on your models or recommendations based on your models, be transparent about that, how you arrived at that conclusion, and also be accountable for what you are providing as feedback for your customers. So these 6 principles are really important from a responsible AI perspective, and every organization who are building models or who are providing recommendations using AI have to be practicing these and incorporate these principles in their workflow process. So as I told you, there is a close partnership between OpenAI and Microsoft. And as a result of that, what we have got is the Azure Open AI Service. So the Azure Open AI Service, like it is, allows us to like deploy the large language models that we have available through the OpenAI. But in this case, we can deploy those large language models on the Azure platform. So to access the large language models, the first and foremost you have to do is to provision a service on Azure called Azure Open AI Service. So you go to the marketplace, look for the Azure Open AI Service, and you will be able to search for that and you can provision that. So let me quickly showcase it, how you can go about doing that. So this is my Azure portal. I'll just make sure, yeah, Zoom level is good. So here I can go to creating a resource and I can look for my Azure Open AI service. And what you get to see is the marketplace will provide you the ability for you to go ahead and provide the Open AI, provision the Open AI stuff. So maybe I'll just keep it as Open AI, so to narrow down the search a bit. So here you can see Azure Open AI and you can go ahead and create that. So one thing to keep in mind is like currently this service is getting like updates like as we talk on a daily basis. So one thing to keep in mind is what is the type of like models that you want to use, and find out the regions where these models are supported. So that is really important for you to know before you go ahead and provision the Azure Open AI service, because depending on the capabilities that you need, you may need to choose the region where the capabilities are available. So that's something to keep in mind before you provision it. So there is a list of regions, what you can see, and you may be wondering, saying like, oh, there is a whole heap of Azure data centers that are available across the world. But when you try to provision the Azure Open AI Service, you can see a short list of regions in here. And this list is growing as we speak. So keep that in mind. And that's one of the reason I said, make sure you check where you want to deploy the service and whether you have the constructs, like if you're under some sort of like a data sovereignty, uh, you have to follow the data sovereignty rules, and if your organization is need to be compliant to that, make sure that the available region is okay for you to use if you want to use the Azure Open AI service. Just a quick disclaimer type of thing. So this is the service that you are going to be creating first and foremost in order to get your Azure Open AI journey started. And once you provision the service, what you get to see is the Azure Open AI Studio. So Azure Open AI Studio, this is the studio that you can use in order to practice, like train your models and start using your models in there. So what I have got here is an Azure Open AI service that is already provisioned. And this is provisioned in the East US region, as you can see. And here I have the ability to navigate to my Azure Open AI Studio. So this is now showcasing my Azure Open AI Studio. You have two versions like this. The new version, which is currently in preview, this is available if you want to explore. If I want to click on this. This was announced last month at Ignite, and as you can see, now this is going to bring a new way of how you can manage things using Azure Open AI. Bring all the AI related stuff in one interface rather than having multiple interfaces for that. So if you want to explore that, I would like you to explore this, or also like you can use this existing like interface. If you want to get familiarized with this, you can also use the existing interface that is already available in here. So that's your Azure Open AI Studio. So the first and foremost, what you do in the Azure Open AI Studio is to perform what we call it as a deployment. So the deployment here allows you to pick the large language models that are available. So for instance, you have text-based models, you have got like chat interface-based models. So you can pick and choose. Like I will talk about the different types of models that are available in my next slide. So what you get to see is the variety of models which are generative AI models that you can deploy through the deployment interface. So what you're seeing here is the GPT-4 models. This is the latest generative AI model that is pre-trained, and it uses a natural language and code completion based natural language prompts. So what it means is you can ask the questions in plain English in natural language, and you will be able to get a response. And again, this is going to be in the form of a chat interface. And similarly, the previous model before the GPT-4 is the GPT-3.5 models. And these, in particular, the GPT-3.5 Turbo models, they are optimized for chat-based interaction similar to GPT-4. But GPT-4 has got much more advancements than the GPT-3.5 Turbo model. Then you have the embeddings model, which can convert your text into numeric vectors. And this model is really handy if you want to use the language analytics scenarios. For instance, looking at different types of text sources and looking for similarities between those text sources and so on. DALI, my favorite one. And this model allows you to go and generate images on the fly using natural language prompts. And think about a lot of opportunities what it can open. So for instance, like you can go and write blogs, or you can write storybooks, and then you can visualize saying like, how if I can get an image of something like this, and you can go and put that in a plain text in a natural language format, and DALI will generate the image on the fly, which you can utilize. So I think watch the DALI space, because that is going to open up a lot of like creative ideas, especially in the space where images are mainly used. So coming to the crux of our topic, so now we saw like what Open AI service can do and how we go ahead and create a deployment, and we can start using the deployment. But what about that? Because these large language models, they are trained on the public data, and what we get to see is the responses that it could provide from the data that has been trained with that. But a lot of organizations, as I mentioned at the beginning of my talk, they have wealth of data within the organization themselves, and they want to have a chat, similar chat like interface to expose the value out of that data. Is it even possible with what we have got with the generative AI space and with Azure Open AI particularly? It is feasible, and that's what we are going to see through just a short demo. And keep in mind, this is still in the early stages, and this particular thing functionality is still in preview. So you get to see some challenges as you are using it, but I'll just give you the core concepts in today's session. And just when it gets into much more in GA, like you will be getting to see the stabilized version of that. So keep that in mind while you're practicing your demos. Okay, so let us jump on to our Azure Open AI Studio here. So the first and foremost is creating a new deployment if you have to try with the Azure Open AI. And irrespective of whether you are going to train your own data, or whether you are going to use the models that are trained using the public data, it doesn't really matter. So here I have created a new deployment, GPT-3.5 Turbo 16K. So you can go ahead and create a new deployment, choose the models. And if you can notice, I have the GPT-3.5 Turbo here, but I don't have the GPT-4 models because that is available in a different region in my subscription. So I have to go to the Sweden Central region if I have to go and look for the GPT-4 models. So that's just to showcasing you to show the different variations. And as you can see here in my Azure Open AI resource group, I got different Azure Open AI instances provisioned across different regions just to play with to see what capabilities that are available across the different regions in here. Cool. So let me get back to my deployment. So here I have already got a GPT-3.5 Turbo 16K deployment available. When you create a new deployment and if you want to start using it in your chat interface, make sure that you give at least 5 to 10 minutes for the deployment to complete, because it needs to complete and it needs to be available and ready for you to start using it. So here I can choose any of the templates, and I can specify I want to use the GPT-3.5 Turbo 16K model. So in this case, this is the chat playground using the public data. And what you are going to do here is you can ask any questions because this interface is now acting as an Xbox customer support agent. So you can ask what to say, like, okay, I can't like turn on my Xbox. What do I do? And so let us give an, let's see. So you can just ask the question, and then as you can see here, this is now acting as an Xbox assistant, and then it is providing as the responses to showcase like, okay, how do you go about and fix your problem? So this is what you get out of the box from here is, but what we are looking at is the next level. So let us quickly refresh this. Cool. So now we are going to go ahead and go with the default system template. Now we want to add our own training data, right? So that's the point in here, not using the public data. So you can see this option where you can go ahead and add your own data. As I mentioned before, this is still in preview. You can click on add a data source. There are some prerequisites that you have to meet in order to utilize this particular service. So first and foremost is like you can use the different data sources where you have got the data available. Basically, this is your own organization data. So you can upload files in here, and or you can just directly say like, okay, I have got my files in my Azure Blob Storage. So if you say the Azure Blob Storage, basically you should provide the Blob Storage account. In this case, I have got a Blob Storage account available. So let me quickly refresh this. And then I have got the container where I have got my data. So here I have got a container called brochures, and where I have put all the my organization related brochure material in there, so that I want that to be used in order to work with my chat interface. And the next thing you have to also do is you need to have an Azure AI search resource. So this is the cognitive search resource that we are talking here about. So if you don't have one, then probably like you have to go ahead and provision that resource and make sure that resource is available before you can proceed further. So here I have got a resource already available. So I will just go ahead and choose that. And what happens is like the next step of this process is it will allow you to type an index name. So the index name is basically saying, well, okay, so these are all the browsers. And if you have already known about the Azure Cognitive Search, you know exactly how that indexing process works. So it will take the documents, it will create and use the indexer to create an index so that you can make those information searchable for you. So here, this is all about a travel data. So I'm just creating an index in here. And you can allow the indexer to run how often you want to do. So you want to just run it once, or you can allow it to run on a daily basis, as well as like if you want to include a vector search capability on that search resource, you can go ahead and enable the option. And finally, like you can just acknowledge the Azure because you are connecting to the Azure AI search account. So it is going to incur some charges related to your account. So that's the Azure Blob Storage. Similarly, you will be able to connect to, if you already have an Azure AI search, because some organizations already got this cognitive search in there, and they would have already got indexes available. So pretty much you can hook it up and then you can enable the search in this case. Or if you are having a Cosmos DB with the document DB, which is the MongoDB version that is available or the API being used, you can use that also. Or if you have a public URL that you can, or private URL or public URL, doesn't matter. You use that web address in order to scan the data out of that. Or if you have documents that you want to upload, and you can use the upload files, and so you don't need to have already a blob storage with all the things in there. So the options here gives you a lot of flavors, right? So if you have an existing blob storage, reuse the documents under the containers already what you have got. If you don't have anything, upload the files, and at the point of uploading the files, you will be creating a blob storage and a container that is going to allow you to do. So let us do this. Like I want to um, upload my files and I want to use my blob storage, and I'll say, okay, turn on the course, and then this is my index name that I want to use. And then you can see like I'm going to use my East US region like a storage account. And then what you can also do is like you can just specify like, yes, I acknowledge things. So you can go here. Now you can look for some files. So I have some sample files which I have got, the brochures that I have already downloaded here. I can load them. So these are all the files. I'll be uploading it to my storage account. And so now if I click on upload files, want to next, let us quickly check. Yes. And then the search type is going to be based on keyword, and click on next. And now this is where the ingestion process is getting started. So now the documents that we have loaded, they will be ingested, and then the indexer will kickstart, the indexing process will go, and then pretty much after that, you can use your Turbo 16 deployment, whatever you have provision, and you can start working with the chat interface. So quickly show you what's happening behind the scenes in here. If I go back to my Azure Open AI Service, and I have got my storage account. So this is the one I have got where you can see the files have been successfully uploaded to my storage account. So it created a container called file upload Magis Travel. It loaded all the PDFs in there, and now post the PDFs are used in here. Basically, what you can get to see here is like the files are available and it is ready to be accessible by the indexer. On the other hand, I also has got the ability, like I have got a cognitive service that is available and which is connected to the data sources where it can pull the data, and you have got indexes that is being created and in order to do the indexing process. So this is in a nutshell like what happens behind the scenes, and depending on the type of data source that you are using, then pretty much you will be able to get to see what is happening. So currently the pre-processing is getting completed. So once that is complete and the indexing is started, pretty much this is available. So you can go here in this chat interface and you can start questioning about the travel related information, because that's what Magi's travel is all about. And you can go ahead and query the scenarios based on that, being conscious of the time and the indexing process is as it is running. So this is how you will be going ahead and starting to use your own data. So if you look at it from the PowerPoint perspective, what we were doing is, so you take the data which is in some sort of files or in any interface, and then what you will be doing is you will be going ahead and like how do you go and so how do you go about and train the documents that what we saw in terms of the brochures, and then you will be looking at provisioning some resources and stuff, and it will be readily available for you to use. So I think my resources are readily available in now here. So as you can see, the files have been uploaded successfully. This is my organization data, what I have got in here. And here, the option it allows me to do is like, I ask the question saying, how do I go to New York? Or prepare me an itinerary for New York. And here, this is coming from my brochures that I have trained. So this is my organization data that I'm using in order to enhance this chat interface. So this is not publicly available data it is using. Basically, this is coming from the brochures that we have already provided, which is now used by the Azure Open AI, trained with your own data. And now the playground, the chat playground is available for your organization users or your customers, where they can get the relevant information that what you are providing as part of your travel agency. This is as simple as such how you can go ahead and train. Of course, when you are, I showed you as a preview, a quick with what I can showcase in a 30-minute demo. But there are certain things that you have to take into consideration when you are using your own organization data. As I said, the key responsible AI principles like a privacy is really important, that you have to take into account security of the data, like how secure, how what can access. If it is only the Azure Open AI service, make sure the right privileges are provided, so only the data is really secure. And there you go. You can start creating much more sophisticated chat interfaces which your users can use, that can just scan your own organization data. So that's what I wanted to quickly showcase the capability. This service is currently in preview. So keep that in mind when you are actually like when this service comes into GA, it is going to open up a lot of opportunities for a variety of organizations. Hope you enjoyed my quick demo. What I could show you, like how you can bring your own organization data within Azure Open AI chat interface.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much. It was yeah, super clear, step by step. It was a really nice demo of sort of that end-to-end piece. Just have one quick question for you around that. So we saw the great response once you'd added the data in the chat playground. Like we could see that it had obviously understood that data really nicely. After that chat playground, what do we do next in order to, like, you were using
Yeah.
it there, how would customers use it?
That's right. So because I wasn't able to show the next level, so the next level, what you can take it up is to build, include it in your applications. You may have a website, or you may have some sort of applications that you would be exposing to your customers, right? You can integrate this inside that website, which means pretty much you have got a built-in chat interface where your customers can communicate with your like a bot or something, and it is going to give the responses straight from your own data. And that is the next level that you can take it. And also, like a few other opportunities that you have got is, you don't need to limit it to there, so you can show your own data. And also you can take it to the next level to say, if this is not sufficient, then you can also start getting the data from the public endpoint and then start showcasing it. So you can easily segregate to say, this is what we can provide, but these are some additional references or information that you can get. See, that's the magic of OpenAI, right? So if you want to keep it so private with your own data, you can just provide response tailored to that, or you can say, this is what we have, but this is what the additional references. You still have this capability of bringing in the public data that has been trained with these large language models, and that is going to just enhance your output that you're going to provide to your customers.
Nice. No, great experience, really good demo of that, and
Yeah.
a really nice one to get people started. I said, I was like, oh, I am actually
That's
not
right.
sure we've seen the Azure OpenAI playground that much today as well. You know, we've seen it go in a lot into applications. We've heard about the semantic kernel and LangChain kind of integrations and stuff like that, but it was really nice to kind of just see that base layer as well of, you know, great experience with sort of grounding that data. Also really appreciated your call out to the responsible AI element at the start. Yeah, I couldn't agree
That's
with you
right.
more. Get that built in early doors, just like we do security, just like we do green considerations, isn't it? They should be on everyone's list when we build.
In each and every layer.
That's right. And
Yeah.
especially if you're talking about your own organization data, right? So we have to be much more secure about that. So, and that's why I just, any AI presentations I do, like I make sure like people, I talk about the responsible AI slide at least for a 5 minute, so that just to make sure like this is something that you have to always keep in mind.
Absolutely.
Great.
Well, we
So,
really appreciate you joining us, taking us through that. If you can head over to the Discord channel, go say hi to anyone who's in there, share any resources
Sure.
you think will be useful from your session. That community lives on, so please go and join the AI Discord if you can, because obviously we can continue having those conversations over time as well, which is nice.
yeah, so thank you
Great.
so much for joining again, Anupama, and for everything you
Thank
do to
you.
support our community. Thanks a lot. Hope to see you
And
again
thanks
next
for
time.
sure, and thanks for everything that you all do, and just to help to grow this community. And yeah, so it's nice to see these events getting organized, and so that we can showcase the capabilities of the Azure Open AI.
Yes, thanks a lot. Have a
See
great
you
Great,
day.
thank you.
later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Amazing. So another session down, another great one where we saw end-to-end how to get started with Azure OpenAI Service with that retrieval augmented generation approach with bring your own data. So with that, we'll wrap up this session and we'll see you in a few minutes for the next one.